Hi, I'm Debbie Chronister. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm glad you're joining me today. You can find me at stampwithdeb.com, and I'm on Facebook Live every Tuesday at 3 o'clock and Pacific Time, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. Let's get started. I have a really fun project for you today. And tonight I'm here to show you how I made this really cute pop and twist card using flowering rain boots, one of the new sets from the January through June Stampin' Up! Catalog. So let's get started. I do have a PDF on my blog that you are able to download in order to get the instruction, this chart, because this will be a huge help. So my first piece of cardstock that I cut is my card base. And I cut mine in Highland Heather, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So that is the start of my card. So let me just score that. Now on mine, for my card, I wanted to stamp the greeting right down here. Although you could put the greeting anywhere. You could put it on another piece of paper and attach it, or put it on a tag or something and attach it. And I love this greeting. It says sending a card instead of a text. And this does not come from that set. This comes from, let me grab it here, Flowering Flowers. So it's this one right here. I love this set. I'm finding that I just love these words. They fit so many different situations. So I will be using more and more of them. So let's go ahead and stamp this, which says sending a card instead of a text, right down here in my bottom corner. Not too bad. Okay, so that'll get us started. I'm going to put this away so I don't put my hand in it. We will use it again, but not right now. Okay, so that is our card base. Then we have a piece of 11" by I made mine 2 1/2 inches. That's what I wanted. And so it's 11 by 2 1/2. And I am going to score that. What am I on top of here? At 2 1/2, 5. Wait a minute. That's not right. Ooh, I have a measurement wrong here. I think I have a couple measurements wrong. This should be at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, and 8 1/4. So I'll have to go in and change my measurements before I post this on my blog. Okay, so, and that's going to fold with it. The center fold is going to be your mountain, a valley, and then a mountain. Okay, so that is how that is going to come out. And then there's one more piece here that I have that is 2 inches by 8 inches. And this one, we're going to score down the center here, turning it with the 2-inch side at the top. We're going to score at 1 inch. And then we're going to score at we're going to, wait a minute, we're going to take this and we're going to mark where 3 inches is. So I'm going to go back to my grid sheet here. I should have got my tablet so I could see if this was showing up. Let me grab my tablet real quick. Just so I can be sure that I'm on screen instead of, like you guys won't be able to see it. So let me just get in here real quick. Whoops. Okay. Okay, there we go. And everything I own has a low power right now. I think I've been doing a lot of stuff today. So, but just let me just see if I'm on here where I'm supposed to be. Close. And just check here before I go too far and find out that none of this is recording for whatever reason. Okay, looks like it's working fine, except for my paper's crooked, but that's normal. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to scoot this up, actually, so that you can see this is my 3-inch line, and so I want to mark it so that I will know where it is on the other side of my paper, on the other edge of the paper. So I'm just going to mark up my 3-inch line on my grid sheet here. And I'm going to take this piece of paper and I'm going to mark it at 3 inches on this side and 3 inches on this side. Then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the same thing on this end. Just mark it at 3 inches. See what a nice mark that puts out, so that makes it real easy to find it. Okay, now let's go back to my scoreboard here. Or you could do this with a paper trimmer. I have lines on my scoreboard, you can see. There's a couple of them here. I use those lines all the time. This is a brand new board, and I marked it up already. They do come off. If I just spray them with rubbing alcohol, it'll look beautiful. But I'm not worried because this is a tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score. I have my little marks here, 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 and here. I'm going to score between this one and this one. So I want to make an X in the middle. So I'm going to come off of that and onto here. And then I'm going to go the other way and score from that one, the one that's across from the one I just scored, and I'm going to score across and make the other part of my X in the middle. Okay, easy. That is my mechanism right there. This is the mechanism for this card. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over and burnish it. So I have a good crease there. And same with this one. So we'll get a really good crease. And then this one is going to fold, these folded up. You see how I folded both of those upward? Well, these are going to fold down, and they just almost automatically do it. So I'm going to fold that over and crease it with my hand. And actually, I bet I could score the whole, burnish the whole thing at one time. I don't know why not, as long as I burnish it going the right direction, because we want it to go that way. So then the center is coming up, and there is the mechanism for my card. That is really the whole, the whole key to this card. So here we go. All right, now I have, now on this part, you could do this with designer series paper. You could put whatever you want in here. You don't have to put anything in here, actually. You can just leave it like it is. But I wanted to have something to write on when I get ready to send this card out. So I am going to attach some basic white in here. And if you wanted to stamp, you might want something in here. You could do designer series paper. Kind of be your choice. Whatever you have or want to do. So I'm going to attach that there. And then I'm going to put one at the top also. And just right in here. Whoa, that's crooked. Let's see if I can pull it off still. Yep. And I'm going to flip it around so I've got a nice even surface to start with up there. Okay. All right, now for this, I want to use a really strong glue on this, so I'm going to use my liquid glue. And I'm just going to put some on here. Keep in mind, if you can see it, it should be enough. Okay? So that is very light, but that's all I need, really. If it's not enough, you'll know it. It'll come apart. But if you put so much on there, it takes forever to dry. So just go a thin line. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this right in here, centering it from right to left. Hopefully it's centered. going right to the fold. I'm going to push it into the fold, and I'm going to close it down. Okay, now if you are in one of my clubs, this is where I told you to set it aside, and we will let it dry, and we'll stamp the flowers and get everything else ready. But however, I already stamped all the flowers, but we have a few things, so let's set that aside and we'll work on this. So I went ahead and stamped and die cut my flowers. So we can go ahead and put this together. I have a piece of designer series paper from the new rainbow papers, and they're free with Celebration. So they have some really pretty papers in here. I'm not a rainbow person, but I really like the colors and what they've done here with these papers. So one side is gorgeous and the other side has rainbows. So that one is trimmed just a little crooked, or I put it on a little crooked, one or the other. So we'll just trim that a little bit off. Okay, and we can start putting together, I don't want to put that on there yet. We can start putting together this. This is our image panel. So the first thing we have is we have all these little squares that are going to go on there. Actually, they're rectangles because they're cut at 2, and let me just make sure here before I tell you, 2 1/4 by 2 1/2. So I'm going to put those on there, and that is the wrong side because this is my mountain. So let's flip that over, put that on. Let's get all those on. Now the next panel has a greeting on it, so I'm going to stamp my greeting before I adhere it, just in case I make a mistake. Then I can flip it over and put it on the back. Try again on the back. That came out fine. So let's go ahead and attach that one. And I just want to try to make sure these are even, especially along the bottom. Okay, next one. Oh, and when you stamp the greeting, make sure it's going the right way. It's got to go landscape. So, unless you cut this paper differently. Now you could cut this wider this way. You wouldn't cut it wider this way because it wouldn't fit in your card if you go much wider. But you could cut it so it's taller. I elected to cut it down because I wanted my flowers to show. And I wanted them to pop off the edge. That was what I wanted. So those are on there. I'm going to close this up so I don't stick my hand in it again. Okay, now for the flowers. So my boots will take one of my stems, which is my front. They're on the front, one of those are on the front, and one of these are on the front. So we'll set those aside for now. And one of these. Okay, now these, when you put the flowers in the pots, the flowers are a little bit wide. If I can get the pot off. And the pot is stamped in cinnamon cider, and the flowers the stems are in pear pizzazz. So you can see it's a little bit wide. So I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to save it because I'm going to use it somewhere else on this card. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that off and then trim off my flowers. Let's do that on both of these. Okay. And then the same thing on the flowers. So I'm going to cut off the 2 flowers that are on the left-hand side here. And let's smooth that out a little bit. Looks kind of rough. And if I cut from this direction, if I'll have a better... I still have to trim it up, don't I? Okay, so we're going to save our little 2 flowers over here with our other little stems. And for these, we're going to put our flowers in our pots. Now, to me, it should go in the pot, right? So I want to put it in there. I don't like that it shows the bottom. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim off this bottom. It's nice straight. I could just trim it right straight off. And now it looks like it's going right out of the pot. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive right along the bottom here and put my flowers in their pot. Just like that. Same thing with this one. I'm just going to trim that off. Right there. And just add that onto my little pot. Okay, now I want my flowers to stick up over. So I'm going to put my pot up there high. And I didn't want any more dimensionals because I'm afraid that this card has enough, oops, this one goes here. This card has enough thickness that I didn't want to go with any more of that. This pot is going to get those flowers. And those flowers, the yellow daisies, they just kind of hang over. They can hang over no problem. And I have a white edge, so I'm going to go this edge for my daisies hanging over. And let the white edge be at the top. It'll probably show less. And let's attach those. And I'm just going to let them show a little bit at the top. And then put my last pot on here. And this, you wouldn't have to put one here. You could use that to sign. You could put your name there or write a note there. You wouldn't have to put anything there. You could just put the two pots. You could do it totally different. It's up to you. Okay, now these are going to go on here, and I'm just going to put some glue, just little dots of glue on the tips of these and add those on. And they should line up just like that. Okay, and the same thing over here. Just add my glue right onto the tips of those stems. And add my tulips. Okay. It's not real pretty from the back, but you know what? It works. I guess you could put another set of them on the back. I don't know. I don't know if that would work. You'd have to stamp them backwards. That is possible. But for this purpose, I'm not. Okay, let's get our card base, bring that back in, and open it up, and look at that. It's perfect. It works very well. Okay, now we're going to attach this to the center mechanism. So we're going to take our panel here, our image panel, and we're going to fold it into the center. And then I'm going to place it just like right here. This is just a guide for me. So I want to make sure it lines up here. And I'm going to mark at the top up here and the bottom down here. Okay, so top right, bottom left. All right, now I'm going to put glue right there. I'm going to put glue in the top right corner up here, this section, and I'm going to put it in the bottom left corner. Okay, doesn't have to be a ton of it again, it just has to be enough. Now you're going to come back in. I don't know why that's in there. You're going to come back in and you're going to lay this back in here, and you're going to center it from top to bottom. So I want to see how much margin I have here and here. Okay, so I want to make sure that it's right. And then I am going to open this up and press it down, and open this one up and press it down. Now, we don't want it to show out the bottom. That's the one place we don't want it to show. So what we're going to do is we're going to close it up gently, holding on to the top right and bottom left. Magic. I'm going to close that up and check it is basically what I'm doing. So I'm going to push it in just a little bit, and that's where I want it to sit. Okay, so I want it to be even with the bottom of the card, at least. So now if you open it up and you look at it, you should be attached. See, you should be attached on the back and the top. And so if you open this and look, it's like this sits on top of that one, and this sits underneath this one. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's where it's supposed to be. And so if I want, I could push this up just a little bit, and it still will work. I could push it up all the way and it would still work, probably. I'm not sure, I haven't tried that. But that's an easy way to put it in there and to know if you have it in far enough, is just to, okay, I got my bottom's moving, but my top is not. I mean, my top is moving, but my bottom is not. So you want to do this while your glue is still moist, and that way you can move it a little bit if you need to. The other option would be to fold it up and put it in your card with those two, put it between those two. So you'd put it so your bottom one touches here, your top one touches there, put glue on it, and boom. So mine is nice and even at the bottom on this card. So, okay, let's finish decorating this. So now we just have the front to finish. And when you put it in, make sure you have your front of your card going that direction. You don't want to get that beautiful thing in it and open it up and it's upside down. Okay, so make sure that you are working from the front of your card. And I'm just going to attach this, and I'm going to use my score lines, my design, my paper here, to be sure that I have it going on there straight, or at least somewhat straight. No guarantees. Okay, now I'm going to add my boots. Now when I add my boots, I have to remember, let's put our flowers in our boots first. So I am going to trim off the bottom of my flowers again, so that they look like they're sitting inside my boots. And so I'm just trimming off that white at the bottom so that they look like they're sitting in the boots. That's what I want. Okay, this little boot, this one wants to go up a little. Perfect. Okay, now let's put some glue on there. And I think I'll put it on my boots. And I'm just putting a very little bit, just a line or two, you know, just a nice thick line. Not too much. And so I'm just going to put my flowers in my boots. Let's get them in there. And then I'm going to attach my boots. This is where you want to watch it, because you know those flowers are going to stick up higher. So I'm going to attach my boots down lower. I am going to put my boots on with dimensionals. This is the one place I think that the dimensionals need to go. So, looks like I'm out of my big ones, so we're going to use little ones. Lots of little ones probably. Let's see if I have a package of big ones. Nope, they're all littles. Okay, so let me grab a pair of tweezers, because I like to do it with tweezers when I'm doing these little ones. The big ones don't bother me, but these are so small that sometimes it's hard to grab a hold of them. Okay. So, whoops. Let's just put them all around. Okay. Now let me peel all those off. There's a trick to this. You press on it when you put it on, and then they stick up. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. My husband's playing with the dog. He's oblivious. So, okay, let's put this on. And this one I'm going to move because I know I'm going to put some flowers under there. So let's put that one up a little higher. And I caught that on my finger. Okay, so I want to make sure I have room for my flowers, which are here. And then I'm going to put my little, my daisies back here. Just like that. And I'm going to add these. I'm going to put those on with dimensionals also. So these are perfect for these little flowers. So I want my dimensionals to be high enough that when I put these on, there's a little bit of a hangover. That one's not going to work. A little area that hangs over the stem of the flower. So I needed to put my dimensionals towards the top. I think I need one there. It's just got to be at the top. Okay. I have a paper on there still, I think. I do. All the rest of them are sticking to my fingers, but that one's not. Okay, so let's just attach that. And you can see where the flowers are going to go. Look how this one goes up higher. There we are. And that way my dimensionals are actually holding up there. So here's where you could put a greeting if you don't put your greeting down here. Okay, I think that is it for this card. There we are. So thank you for joining me, and if you need any supplies, you can find me. Oh wait, we didn't finish this, did we? So I took these and I added them just right down here. I'm going to put one down there, and I think I know where I want to put the other one. I'm going to put the other one in here. Let's add that on there. I think I want that one on here where it says live life in full bloom. We're going to try it. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's just put it right there. Oops, stay there, not me. Let me trim off this edge. That will help some. There. And then add my little flowers here. This is what I'm concerned about, that these won't work, but they'll work, just barely. Because they're raised up a little bit, because they've got that underneath. That looks cute. I could have put it over a little further. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. Go to Stamp with Deb. You'll find the instructions and the measurements for this, as well as a link where you can purchase the supplies. These were, this was made from the Flowering Rain Boots in the January through June mini catalog in 2022. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.